Hello and welcome. My name is Thomas Kevin Dolan. I'm the writer and author of Little Fag, A Journey of Self-Acceptance and Healing. Today I'm going to read the introduction to my book. The introduction's title is My Coming Out. It begins on page 11 of the book. Scattered throughout this book, you'll read many references to my experiences of being gay. Central to the grace and love I live with today is that coming out was pivotal to my staying alive. Like many closeted gay men, my internalized homophobia was alive and well. I spent years making sure no one discovered who I was. I used sports, or what I like to think of as the arena of masculinity, to hide within. The Dolans were staunch Catholics, along with being well known for their prowess in sports. The church and athletics in the 1960s, 70s, and 80s made little room for fags. Marriage to a woman served as my biggest barrier to hide behind. Yet, after 4 years in that relationship, I summoned the courage to come out. It broke my heart when those who loved me suddenly disappeared from my life, especially the woman I loved most in the world. Best friends never saw me again. One told me he physically became sick when he learned I was gay. At the time, I'm sure some part of me made sense of the pain by simply thinking, of course they hate me. I'm a fag. After the calamity of leaving my marriage, it was time to tell my family. Mom was first on my list. In 1988, my coming out story took about 2 hours to tell. It was hell. When I finally arrived at the revelation of my story with Mom, and before I could utter those 3 words, I am gay, she looked at me and said, "When you were 3 years old, sitting on that cold kitchen floor in the old house, you looked up at me and said you didn't want to be like your big brothers." My eyes remained cast to the floor. She'd continue, "Was that you telling me you were gay?" With tears streaming down my face, I looked up and said, "Yes." "Oh dear, I've always known that about you," she nonchalantly shared. My retort was quick. I could feel the rising king tide of anger. "Why didn't you tell me?" I asked. She gently took my hand and whispered, "It was your work to do, and I'm proud of you for doing it." American actor and singer Jonathan Groff said, "There's kind of a gift in being gay because if you come out, you're forced to express yourself." The rest of my siblings were powerfully supportive, especially a younger sister who's also gay. She never had to come out. She knew, as did the world with a label of tomboy following her during her younger life, who she was. She was the first to come to me when I felt like my world vanished. Coming out was a breeze compared to finding comfort in proclaiming to myself and the world at times that yes, I was a fag. I was about to take a deep dive into a world filled with immense hatred. Most of it, I'd discover, was my own self-hatred. I took great pride in moving through the world as an out gay man. What I didn't realize was the energy I expended making sure no one saw what I thought was my faggy self. Those parts of me I felt were feminine, sensitive, emotional, compassionate, truthful, deeply caring, or anything connected to being truly vulnerable in a heteronormative world. It wasn't until I experienced being physically assaulted, called a fag, and felt my life in danger did the light come on. Amidst all the fear the word fag evoked, I could see how I exacerbated it. Every time I denied being a fag or pretended I wasn't, I died inside. And the energy of those tossing the word at me became stronger. What if I embraced the word? What if I simply said, "Yep, I'm a fag"? If I stopped resisting, would the world stop persisting? Could taking the sting out of the word bring me some peace or even empower me? On one occasion, after choosing to embrace the word fag, I playfully told Mom I was her little fag. She immediately bristled at the comment and yelled at me saying, "Please don't use that word. I hate it." She'd eventually apologized for her reaction, sharing that at points in her life, she'd used the word fag in a derogatory way against gay men. A number of months before my mom took her last breath in 2006, I made my way to see her. I walked over to her to say goodbye. Her grip on my hand was unusually tight. She pulled me close and said, "I love you. You're my little fag." Every time I tell that story, there's such emotion for me. Oh my gosh, I love you. You're my little fag. I wanted to share kind of a background. Obviously, you know the title of the book now. But for 2 years, I had no idea what the title was. I had kind of enrolled one of my beta readers in tossing me as many titles as she could possibly think of. And she's extremely good at coming up with titles. Nothing stuck. Until finally I landed on an editor for my book in Vancouver who was amazing. Her name is Rhonda. And I had said to Rhonda, "I've got nothing when it comes to the title for this book." So I asked Rhonda if she might be able to put some energy into it, which of course she said yes to. I got a text one night from Rhonda saying that she wanted to share something with me, but she couldn't do a text. She had to do it live. So we either FaceTimed or we talked on the phone. But when I heard her voice, she said to me, "I want to make sure you're sitting down, right? Sit down." I said, "Okay, I'll sit down. Feet on the floor, you're grounded." I said, yes. She said, "I think I have the title for your book." She said, "Go ahead and take a deep breath, and I'm going to tell you what the title is." So I took a deep breath, and she said, "Little Fag, a journey of self-acceptance and healing." I started to cry. I said to her, "That's exactly the title." I think Rhonda started to cry. I was so grateful, so grateful. And what we both giggled about and were deeply relieved about was that the title had always been here. It had been in the manuscript, right? That story about mom and coming out, and "you're my little fag," and "I hate that word." She used the fag against gay men. And that the last word she would say to me is, "I love you. You're my little fag." Oh my gosh. The title rocks a few boats, which is really great. Most importantly, the boat it rocks is mine. It fills my heart with joy. It allows me to take more sting out of the word. And perhaps for those that are reading it that might be uncomfortable with it, perhaps it might be a first step in taking the sting out of the word for you as well. Nonetheless, that's the background behind the title for my book, and I'm deeply, deeply grateful to Rhonda. And obviously to my mom for inspiring me a long time ago to name my book with a word that she just hated. And I know that she loves today. So I wanted to share that story with you.